Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. Free agency officially started today, but because of the tampering period, it may actually be the quietest day in free agency, Perna. Now, I love NFL free agency, but I think I love the tampering period more now. It's a 48-hour window before free agency actually starts, where all of the juicy moves are made. It is like Christmas Eve, unless you're a Bears fan. Then it's like a viewing before the funeral, as you get to take an early look at the quarterback who will let you down in 2021. A bunch of quarterbacks are on the move, so we will break that down today. Trent Williams becomes the richest Trent on earth. Maybe Trent Reznor has more money. I don't know. How close were the Bears to actually signing Russell Wilson? And yes, I'll make fun of Bears fans fully knowing I'll be just as heartbroken when Deshaun Watson does not sign with the Broncos. Although the latest rumor is he will only play for Denver or the 49ers, and now star of Die Hard and Houston Chronicle writer John McClain says he expects Watson to be traded. Why is that important? I will tell you if you just watch this stupid show. That's Good Sports. Please, subscribe to this YouTube channel. I make football videos all the time here, and if you want to support me, if you love me, you can do it two ways. One, by buying my coffee, Benchwarmer Brew at benchwarmerbrew.com. Really good coffee. Every order we place through the Faya Foundation, we make a donation to somebody who needs a meal, and I've got the best beans. And you can come feel up my beans at benchwarmerbrew.com. Come feel my beans. Also, patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. Every month for all $10 and above patrons, we do a Zoom meeting where we hang out and talk. And I have big dick shout outs for new patrons. Blue Ridge Mountain Plumbing, not a new patron, but they are up to $183.69. That is the best damn plumbing in Central Virginia. John Hardik at a $20 donation. Fionn O'Sullivan, Dolphin Down East, also 20, and Full Sin Nick. Thank you guys so much for your support. All right, All-Pro left tackle and Washington football team medical staff survivor Trent Williams became the richest tackle in NFL history, inking a 6-year, $138 million deal to stay with the 49ers. San Fran signed him at 1 a.m. and then got Falcons center Alex Mack to agree to a deal at 2 a.m. Assuming they have a quarterback and defense that can stay healthy, the 49ers should be in a two-way race with the Rams to win the NFC West. Now, those are both very solid moves by the 49ers, but the best part of this contract was the back and forth between the league's premier offensive lineman. David Bakhtiari chimed in on Twitter with a stellar tweet. He said, "You petty as fuck," to Trent Williams after Bakhtiari learned Williams will be making about $10,000 more per year than him. Then Mitchell Schwartz let the world know he jumped Lane Johnson by about $5,000, and a few months later Lane beat that number by $7 million per year. Seeing interactions like this is why Twitter is my favorite platform. Favorite platform, not called YouTube. I can't talk bad about YouTube on YouTube. Deshaun Watson, per Michael Lombardi on the Rich Eisen show.
But the problem, Rich, is he controls where he wants to go. The rumor is he doesn't want to play in New York. The rumor is he doesn't want to play in Miami. He wants to play in Denver and San Francisco.
The rumor is he only wants to play in Denver and San Francisco?
He wants to play in Denver and San Francisco.
Denver and San Francisco? So is he going to split time between both cities? As a Broncos fan, I'd actually be okay with that. Let's assume Watson goes 7-1 as the Broncos QB. Then we just need Drew Lock to win 3 or 4 games. But the real issue is, can Deshaun Watson play in the postseason for both teams? God forbid, what if he leads 2 teams to the Super Bowl at the same time? For what it's worth, this is Michael Lombardi. not Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport, and he stressed the word rumor pretty heavily, so that leads me to believe he has no solid source. The good news for the Broncos is that the 49ers just spent boatloads of cash on their offensive line. A great O-line, yes, would be enticing for Watson, but there may be an issue of actually paying him. The real kicker may be that the Broncos have a better draft pick at 9 than the 49ers do at 12, and most importantly, the Niners have a quarterback who they already got to the Super Bowl with once. If any of these rumors are true, Denver has more to offer in draft compensation than the 49ers, and if it's up to the Texans to decide between two teams Watson has already greenlit, I think Denver can make a better offer. It's also out there that the Panthers are ready to give it all up for Watson as well. Again, Watson would need to approve playing in Carolina, and if he does, they have the 8th pick, and in my opinion, would be able to make the best offer for Deshaun Watson. Now, we have all assumed Watson will eventually be traded. His willingness to forfeit money and his firm stance of never playing for the Texans again has been reiterated over and over and over since January. But the most insider in Houston, John McClain, tweeted today that the Texans haven't said they're not trading Watson since January. I expect him to be traded. Okay, Texans, we get it. You're careful with what words you use about Deshaun Watson.
He is our starting quarterback as of right now. He is our starting quarterback. Things happen between now and then, and then we'll see what happens.
But John McClain, up until this very moment, has been saying the Texans are not taking trade calls about Watson. He is more well-connected to the organization than anyone, which means he will echo what the Texans want him to echo, which means if he says Watson will be traded, we can finally, truly believe Houston will bow down and trade him. This is the same John McClain who said, "I've got a better chance of becoming the Texans' new head coach than Deshaun Watson has of being traded." And that was on January 7th. His flip-flop means we can really believe Deshaun Watson might save our franchise. Unless you're a Bears fan. Andy Dalton has signed with the Chicago Bears. I'm sorry, but I can't express how relieved I am. This wasn't the move the Broncos made at quarterback. Bears fans were drunk with Russell Wilson, went to bed and woke up hungover next to reality, Andy Dalton. It is St. Patrick's Day, so maybe having a guy with hair as red as Bears fans' faces must have been when they learned the Russell Wilson dream was dead in the water, dead in the artificially green waters of Chicago. Maybe there's an upside to Irish Andy Dalton officially signing on St. Paddy's Day. Now, the Bears were as close as you can get to acquiring a Hall of Fame quarterback via a trade. They apparently offered the Seahawks 3 first-round picks, a third-rounder, and 2 starters for Russell Wilson. All day, Barstool Big Cat was demanding Adam Schefter do the Russell Wilson tweet. Then Schefter did it. But it was not the one Big Cat was hoping for. Bears GM Ryan Pace met with Seahawks GM John Schneider in Fargo, North Dakota. What kind of asshole move is that? Making a GM fly to North Dakota to tell him you won't do the trade? I think Roger Goodell should have the Seahawks GM kicked out of the league for that bullshit. Yeah, meet me in North Dakota and we'll get this trade worked out. Just kidding, we're not trading Russell Wilson. Why'd I have to fly to North Dakota? Couldn't we have done this in Hawaii? Fucking wine country, Napa Valley? Somewhere nice? Fucking South Dakota would have been better than North Dakota. What? Why? Moving on. Nothing can be worse than being stabbed in the lungs by your own team doctor. Those were the words Tyrod Taylor used on explaining why he signed with the Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor signs a one-year deal with the Texans that can be worth up to $12.5 million with incentives. Tyrod seems like a really, really good guy, which is tough, because I don't wish the Texans upon anyone. However, I would like to see him start all 16 games in Houston next season. I think you can connect the dots on that one. And then a very under-the-radar QB signing, the Miami Dolphins went and got former Colts starter / backup Jacoby Brissett. In terms of backups, Brissett does not have the gunslinger mentality that we love about Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he can push Tua and fill in for long stretches if the starter is hurt. He can also do stuff like this. A play I haven't seen since it happened, and it brings up terrible memories of the outrageously painful ways in which the Broncos were able to lose back in 2019. And then maybe the most significant quarterback news, not really being discussed, is the Falcons with Matt Ryan. Everyone who was counting on the Falcons taking a quarterback at number 4 is going to be a little bit disappointed because Atlanta basically assured they're sticking with Matty Ice for the foreseeable future. And I think that's a good move for the Falcons, who might not be as far away as everyone thinks. But the winner in this situation is all the teams that want to move up for a quarterback. At this point, you can basically ensure that the number 3 pick, the Bengals, won't be taking a quarterback, and the Falcons won't take one either at 4. That means you could see a QB slide, or those teams are now open for draft trading business. Here's my plea to the Falcons. Do not trade the 4th pick to New England. It has become very obvious that Bill Belichick is going through a midlife crisis, and I think he may try to sell the farm for a quarterback to pair with his 47 new tight ends. Have some self-respect, Atlanta. Do not hand a franchise quarterback to the team that humiliated you 4 years ago. Actually, tell them that you will trade, but then don't do it at the last minute, and then draft Penis Sewell to keep your quarterback upright. Or erect. The Jags made 2 big signings on Tuesday, one on offense and one on defense. I mentioned the first, Shaquille Griffin, in the last episode, the former Seahawks corner who they signed for 3 years, $40 million. On the other side of the ball, they snagged veteran wide receiver Marvin Jones for 2 years, $14.5 million, a huge steal in my opinion. Marvin Jones has always been an above average, unsung playmaker who's never really been in the spotlight because he spent his career in Cincinnati and Detroit. And that's probably not going to change in Jacksonville now that I think about it, but I think it's a smart move to give Trevor Lawrence an experienced target to throw to in his first couple years in the league. My favorite Marvin Jones stat is that he, along with Jerry Rice, Sterling Sharp, and Bob Shaw, are the only receivers with multiple 4-touchdown games. He was the most underrated receiver in free agency, in my opinion. Now, the Cardinals signed wide receiver AJ Green, making Arizona not just the retirement capital of the West, but also for NFL receivers. Okay, Green is only 32, 5 years younger than the 37-year-old Larry Fitzgerald, but with his injury history, his body is definitely closer to 37. And the Cardinals weren't done with AJ Green. No. They got Center Rodeny Hudson in a trade with the Raiders, sending a 3rd rounder to Las Vegas for one of the best centers in the league. But I actually think John Gruden won this trade for sending Hudson to the one team where he might accidentally snap the ball over Kyler Murray's head while Kyler Murray is still under center. Boom. And that's it. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports Free Agency Fuckfest continuation. And I will have an AFC West free agency recap. Things are moving a little bit slower than I would have liked for the AFC West teams, and I'll break that down either tonight or tomorrow.